want to talk today about medical decision making and informed consent, which is this ability for us to make decisions for someone else who is incapable of making their own medical decisions. There's usually two different paths to medical decision making. The first is through using like a healthcare surrogate. In Florida, we have designations of healthcare surrogate. In other states, it's something similar. But basically, it's someone else, like a proxy, who would make decisions on behalf of the patient. It's usually done in advance. You sign something saying, hey, I want this person to be first, this person to be my second choice decision maker. And then that becomes, the healthcare decision maker when we can't make decisions for ourselves. There's also some provisions across various states that allow for people to make decisions even when we can make decisions for ourselves. We have that in Florida, and basically that allows me, if I have cancer and I don't feel like going to the doctor to make a decision about a certain procedure, to stay home and send my healthcare surrogate to make that decision for me. I love that provision, and I encourage my clients to sign that, because when you're sick and when you're not, just don't feel good, it can be a real relief not to have to get dressed or take a shower to go make that decision with the doctor. Sometimes it's really great to send somebody to do it. The other aspect, and if you didn't have a healthcare decision maker appointed, there's usually a statute in your state that says here's what the hierarchy of decision makers are. It usually starts with the spouse, children by majority, siblings by majority, those types of things. It'll keep going down that list until you get to like a friend or even a social worker, like from another hospital, that could step in and make those decisions based on your best interest. So those are really cool things that happen with healthcare decision making. If you're at the end of your life and a decision needs to be made, that healthcare decision maker would use something usually called a living will as a tool to understand what your wishes would be in certain scenarios. So living wills are not uncommon in most states. That's usually the term that we use with a living will, and it usually addresses three different scenarios: end stage condition, terminal condition, and persistent vegetative state. I'm not going to go through all those. It's pretty self-evident what they are, but the living will is like a toolbox for the healthcare decision maker, but it's not required. So oftentimes people think, like, if I sign a living will that says if I'm in a terminal condition, I do not want to be resuscitated. That's not like a doctor's order. So that means that the healthcare decision maker would still get to decide whether or not to resuscitate your heart, or to sign a do not resuscitate order. That's kind of one of the myths that exists with healthcare decision making, is that the living will becomes like a doctor's order. It's not. There are some states that have something called POST, which is a physician's ordered life-sustaining treatment, where the doctor sits down, or his representative or her representative sits down and goes through a bunch of questions, and you get to answer them, and then that is a doctor's order. So there are a few states, I think California, Oregon, there's maybe 5 that have adopted POST, which allows those decisions to go directly to the doctor as a doctor's order, instead of the healthcare decision maker being the one to make those decisions. The healthcare surrogate may say, like, well, I think that he would want to be resuscitated right now in this current scenario that we have in front of us. Had a car accident, bumped his head. We don't know if the swelling on the brain is going to go down. There's a whole number of ways that could be helpful to really, have the discretion in the hands of that decision maker. So those are some issues, addressing some healthcare decision-making issues. But I want to talk about, for a moment, just end-of-life decision-making. And this whole, kind of, it's like almost this inability for us to speak about death, and to want to delay death, and to not really know what our loved ones would want to happen if they got in a death event. So I would encourage just talking about death and the prospect of death. I've always felt like death is not something that is a horrible event. As an elder law attorney, I've seen it a lot. I've had the benefit of being present during a lot of death events, and I can tell you that it is potentially a very beautiful time. I've had circumstances and situations that I won't go into here where those moments have been some of the most profound moments for me and other people that were there to witness the death events. So I would just encourage everyone to honor the wishes of the patient. Some patients I find do not want people around when they pass. Other people need to be given permission. Hey, we're going to be okay. It's okay for you to go. Other people wait until you leave the room. Other people really take pleasure in religious ceremonies. The key is to honor the wishes of the patient. So, I just wanted to share a little bit about medical decision making